Good afternoon, lovely ladies and any gentlemen that might be joining us. Thank you so much for signing up to this weight loss masterclass. If you are here on the recording, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time you're watching this, and welcome too. So I'm going to get on with this because I've got so much to share and I am so excited about it. So please bear with me. I'm a bit technophobe sometimes, but basically we should be good with this. Okay, so you may be asking, first off, what makes you the expert? You may be thinking to yourself, well, what can she know that I don't? And I would say this is, I could say that it's because of the 13 years of working almost exclusively with weight loss clients, or that I've been working in the field of natural health, looking for answers for over 35 years. But really, it is my personal journey with my weight. And like you, I've been searching for the cause and the remedy as to why I gain weight in the first place. And I would say is that I now believe I've found the root of the problem. And I really want to share it with as many of you who are willing to listen, because I think that this should help so many people that are struggling with what they believe is overweight in their body. And many people believe that they are weak-willed and they have no control over their appetite and it's their fault. I've got a few little tips to share with you. So basically, we're going to go through why we put on weight. And I'm going to go to a little bit into the science because I think finding out and understanding a little bit about it is really valuable. And then we're going to go over the options as to where you can go. And also, I've got a few tips and programs that I can share with you. And stay with me to the end because I have got a free offer for you that I think you'll really, really appreciate. So right now, why do we put on weight in the first place? And no, it is not genetic. We do not have the genetics for putting on weight. It's not a prerequisite. If you've been told it's your genes, there's a reason for that. So the first question is we ask ourselves is, why do we put on weight when others around me don't? Now, I have something to share with you about that. Now, I do believe that if we put on weight easily and it's apparent, I feel now that we are lucky. A few years ago, I wouldn't have thought so, but now I do. And the reason is if we put on weight and we feel our trousers a bit tight or a jacket a bit and we can't fit our clothes on, I see that as lucky, because basically we tend to do something about it. Most of us don't want to go out and buy new clothes all the time we put on weight, so we tend to go and look for answers, and that's why you're here, isn't it? So as we start looking for answers and as we start gathering those answers, then we can really ascertain what's going on. However, if you're one of these people where you can appear to eat and drink whatever you like and you never put on weight, you could actually be having a problem going on. So some people put on weight on the inside. So we get fat around our liver or around our other internal organs, and that is a problem. And very often that doesn't get diagnosed until it can be potentially too late. So guys, we are lucky. And if we go through this and realize that we are very, very lucky, then it makes you feel a little bit better. And it actually can take lighten the load a bit. So I've been searching for this answer for a very long time. And since I was 13 years old, for it, really. So up until I was 50, I was looking for the answer to my weight, to my own way of being that wasn't suiting me. So the simple answer is stress. Now, I've heard so many people say to me, but I'm not stressed. And my answer is always the same. Well, you may not feel the stress, but your body is feeling it. As stress comes in so many guises. The things that are stress are many. And the usual is family, business stress, financial stress. Now, I'll just tell you a little story about financial stress and how that impacted me. And it is actually a death as well. And so when I was about, I think I was 56, my mother died. And that was hugely stressful because my mum was in the UK and we had huge stresses around that, worrying about her, and then she died. And then around the same time, we had a huge financial downturn. So big, we lost all our savings and we were potentially losing everything, our businesses, everything. And so consequently, that in turn happened at exactly the same time as when I hit the menopause. And I basically ballooned. I put on 25 kgs and I was depressed and felt awful. And I took about 6 months of wallowing in self-pity. And then I started looking for a solution. And that's another story. We'll go on a bit about that later. But basically, if we look at the deaths and births, moving house and country, marriage, trauma, those are stressors that can really impact your abilities to lose weight or not put weight on in the first place. But other stressors include, which might not be quite so obvious, and you may not even realize they're causing you a problem. Food allergies, for example. You may have an underlying food intolerance or allergy that can be causing your body to react. And you might have gut issue, for example. You might be feeling bloated, you might be feeling nausea and those sorts of things. And what happens is we just start taking it for granted. And so then the body sees that as being ongoing chronic stress. So can nutritional deficiencies. They cause a big problem in your body and can be causing the weight to remain static or even going up. And so I'll go into one nutritional deficiency a bit later, and if you know me, you'll know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. And then we also have to look at chemical and heavy metal toxicity. We are bombarded with chemicals and heavy metals in our food, in our air, in our water supply. And actually, in every way, shape, or form, we are exposed to chemicals and heavy metals, no matter where we are in the world. And so those can impact our body and be a stressor too, as are underlying health issues such as chronic viruses, bacteria, parasites, and fungus. Now, this can really, really be a huge problem for many. So this is where it gets interesting. When we have a stressor that is in our lives, we go into chronic stress mode. And when we're in chronic stress mode, our body is going to overdrive. And so, for example, I won't go into too much detail here, but for example, say you have had a glandular fever when you were a teenager, also known as Epstein-Barr, which is a member of the herpes family. Now, you get over your glandular fever, and then the virus remains dormant until we get a little bit stressed or we have something happen. Then the virus goes to work. And you may not feel it. You won't get the fever again. You won't get the swollen glands again, but you will get fatigue again. And you may not notice it, and you take an extra cup of coffee and everything else. But what is happening is your body is being affected. And so when we go into chronic stress mode with all of those things we've talked about, or some, or one, or whatever, but then it is chronic. So we've been doing it for a little while. So I'm just going to introduce you to a gland called the hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus is deep within the brainstem. It is part of the ancient part of the brain, which is called the diencephalon. Now, your hypothalamus, it acts as your body's smart control, the coordinating center. Its primary function is to keep your body in a stable state called homeostasis. by doing its job by directly or influencing your autonomic nervous system and managing hormones. When the hypothalamus perceives we are under threat by either external or internal stress, this is where it goes into protection mode, which can affect many bodily functions. As a master controller, it helps keep the following in balance: body temperature, blood pressure, mood, sex drive, sleep. It also controls hunger and thirst, a sense of fullness when eating. And this is affected when we're in chronic stress mode. So the hypothalamus goes into stress mode when the adrenals go into fight or flight. So when the adrenals go into fight or flight, then the hypothalamus reacts and sends out hormones and cascades and everything else. And there's a thing called the HPA axis, which is the adrenal, hypothalamus, pituitary axis, and they work together. But we don't need to know all of this. But basically, when we're just affected by the one-off stress, like being chased by a tiger, not many of us have been chased by a tiger, but you know what I mean, being chased by a tiger, we get the adrenaline going and cortisols, and then everything calms down and we go back to homeostasis, balance. But when the stress is chronic, as in long term, this is where we start putting on weight. Now, when the stress hormones are constantly running, the hypothalamus perceives that we're going into famine because it's an ancient part of our brain. So in the ancient times, up to less than probably 200 years ago, when we were under long-term stress, it meant that famine was coming. So what basically it does is it shuts off the messengers from the rest of the body. It then will go into starvation mode, which means everything you put into your body, it will convert to fat. Now, this also includes all of the good stuff, but it also means that we become tireder because we can't access that nutrition from our food. So we gravitate towards foods that will give us a short, sharp burst of energy, sugar, carbohydrates, and/or alcohol. Now, this leads nicely into insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is part and parcel of the link with the hypothalamus and the way our body utilizes and converts to fat. So let me just go into insulin resistance and what it is. I would like you to understand that insulin is a hormone that your pancreas secretes into your bloodstream after you've eaten. It enables the glucose from your food to enter your cells, and this is where glucose is burned as energy. If insulin is not doing its job properly, less glucose will be burnt for energy, and more of it will be converted into fat. Insulin has many important roles in your body. People with too much insulin in their bloodstream have said to have insulin resistance, syndrome X, metabolic syndrome, pre-diabetes, or diabetes type 2. These are all the same thing, just varying degrees. Due to modern diets, lifestyles, and magnesium deficiency, nearly everybody produces more insulin in their pancreas than it should. This is a problem. In fact, it is a time bomb waiting to explode at any time. If blood insulin levels have been high for years, the cells of your body start to ignore it. The insulin becomes less and less effective, especially for the very, very important job of getting glucose inside your cells so that you can burn it for energy. Now, here is a list of the most common signs of long-term insulin raised levels. Now, just a proviso here, you don't have to be overweight to have insulin resistance. Many people have things like fatty liver or gout, and they're not overweight. They've still got insulin resistance going on. Okay, so here's the list. A small part of the list. It's not a huge, I've got a lot more on a list that's that could be insulin resistant. So fatty liver, abdominal fat, As the waist grows larger, insulin becomes increasingly ineffective in your body. Therefore, the levels of this hormone rise. Hunger and cravings for sugar or carbohydrate-rich foods. People with high insulin levels are hungry and nothing will satisfy their appetite like carbs and sugar. And there's a reason for that. If you need energy because your body is in starvation mode, you will gravitate towards sugar, carbohydrates, and/or alcohol. It is a necessary thing because you are out of balance. Fatigue and nothing, no matter what you do, helps. Elevated blood sugars, acne, and the large pores on the face. Insulin and its cousin insulin-like growth factor 1 promote higher levels of the male hormone testosterone and increase the sensitivity of your face to testosterone. That means you're more likely to experience acne and greasy skin, and this leads you into polycystic ovarian syndrome. Scalp hair loss in women and male pattern baldness in men, especially front and sides. Skin tags. Increased risk of gout. People who are insulin resistant are sensitive to fructose and convert too much of it to uric acid. Elevated uric acid can raise the risk of gout and kidney stones. High blood pressure. Swollen ankles. Insulin tells your kidneys to hang on to sodium and water, and therefore you will look puffy. You can experience fluid retention anywhere in your body, such as feet, fingers, face, and abdomen. And I would say this is the hypothalamus is in control of the amount of fluid that we have in our body. So it all links into one another. Foggy brain and short-term memory impairment, eyesight degeneration, dark patches of the skin, usually on the back of the neck. Sometimes people with insulin resistance have a dark ring around their neck. So these are just a few of the actual insulin resistance symptoms. If you feel that this could be you, let me know and we can go through the other list and see if there's anything else that's going on. Now, there are many things that can help with this, and one of them is magnesium. Now, magnesium is vital, not only for the symptoms mentioned, but for the creation of digestive enzymes. Now, if we don't have enough magnesium, we don't make several digestive enzymes. Now, if we don't make several digestive enzymes, we can be eating the most perfect diet. We can be taking the most amazing supplements, but we're not getting the benefit. Why? Because they're not being broken down and utilized as energy. They're not being broken down and being able to be distributed throughout your body. So consequently, magnesium is vital for that. Now, you might say to me, I'm taking a magnesium supplement. Well, that's great. That's really good. Problem with that is not only will you not be absorbing all of your food and other supplements, you're very likely not to be absorbing the magnesium as well. So the reason I get people to put transdermal magnesium, as in onto the skin with my programs, is because it goes directly into the bloodstream, bypassing digestion, and so therefore you will be absorbing it. It is a really important component. Now, it doesn't mean to say you have to always use transdermal magnesium, although I do, simply because I know it works for me, but it means that you need to top yourself up first, and then you can go back to the supplements you might have in your cupboard, and you might find they actually work. And this is the reason behind it all. It's actually to make your body so that it's able to do the things it can't presently do. Now, the other reason I get people onto magnesium, and especially the transdermal magnesium, is because of insulin resistance. Now, the main reason for getting people onto magnesium, if they have weight gain or if they have any of the symptoms of insulin resistance, is because of this. If we don't have enough magnesium, we do not make perfect insulin. If we don't make perfect insulin, our insulin receptors do not talk to one another. If they do not talk to one another, then insulin gets ignored and buzzes around in your body, and the pancreas perceives that there isn't enough insulin because there's not enough energy, then it keeps creating more and more. So this is where the vicious cycle can go if you don't have enough of one of this simple mineral. Could be the root cause of your weight gain. Yes, magnesium is great for irritability and anxiety and lethargy, impaired memory and cognitive function, and all of the things that are on this list here. But for talking about weight gain and unable to release it, magnesium could be a vital key. And I'm just so excited to be able to share this with you, because most people will not recognize it because they can't make lots of money out of it. So please, magnesium is a critical component of the whole process. So now we know that stress is the root of our problems. What do we do about it? So there are a few steps that we usually miss when we're trying to lose weight, mainly because we don't know why and how. So we're going to go into that now. Of course, this is obvious, isn't it, really? Reduce stress levels. But, however, there's quite a few parts of our lives that are stressful, and there's very little we can do about it. However, there are a few things we can do to reduce the load and trick the hypothalamus out of famine mode. Now, this is where we can go. One of the main stressors you can change is food. If you are eating a food that could be really apparently good for you, because so-and-so says so, and that food is causing inflammation in your body, and you are doing it on a regular basis, then you are triggering stress hormones. Hence, food allergies triggering cortisols. Plus, airborne allergies can also be a food intolerance that is underlying. And when the pollen comes along, it's like the straw that breaks the camel's back. So in other words, you could have a food that you're eating on a daily basis, and you think it's healthy. Just as an example, almonds. You could be eating almonds or almond milk on a daily basis, and you might be putting on weight, but slowly, but haven't recognized that almonds could be a problem. But then what comes along is the hay fever season, and that particular pollen, whatever you're intolerant to, like pine needle, for example, pollen comes along, and then you start having all of the symptoms of hay fever. That is a sign that there's something more going on in your body, not just airborne pollens. It means that there's a big stress going on in your body. And believe it or not, it could be that almond. And so there's so many foods that we perceive as being healthy that might not be healthy for you. And this is where we really have to look at is the ideal program for you. And this is where we're going. And first off is building some good foundations. And I really think that good nutrition is vital, but it's more than good nutrition. It's basically low inflammatory foods. Now, we need to eat good quality protein. They're the building blocks of our cells and everything else, and they keep us energized. However, I'm talking about animal protein here, and I'll just have to mention is when we look at the vegetarian vegan sources of protein, They appear to be very healthy. So we look at nuts and seeds, we look at legumes and everything else. However, a lot of the time, those protein building blocks are actually inflammatory within your body. And there's a very good reason why so many people who go vegan put on weight or lose an excessive amount of weight. But the reason is the same, is they're basically not absorbing their food properly. In some body types, it'll cause aggravation and insulin resistance, etc. And in others, it'll cause the inability to absorb, and it'll go straight through them, and they might be building up internal fat. So in my opinion, and from what I've learned over the years, is the best protein option is animal protein. And animal protein there's a really good reason. I'm going to go into that in just a sec. So basically, get good foundations. Make sure you have really, really good quality minerals. They are important. So forget about multi-minerals, vitamins and minerals, and other mainstream products. A lot of them don't get digested properly, and they have so many fillers and binders that you don't know what's in them. And also, they too can be causing aggravation in your system. So add in some good quality liquid minerals. They're easily absorbable and vital for good health. So like magnesium, minerals are vital for many systems. So other minerals are important for creation of digestive enzymes. Zinc, for example, is not only really good for our immune system, but it's also vital for creating cortisols. If you get low in zinc, you could be heading for adrenal fatigue, say. And that is really important. So this is why minerals and minerals and minerals are so beneficial and so vital for good health. And also, so is good quality, clean water. That's a whole new talk, actually. But basically, if you get filtered water, drink that and add some minerals to it and do the transdermal magnesium, that should set you up. Because if you build up your level of minerals and drink good water, everything should flow. And you should be absorbing the rest of your vitamins from your food. So it's a really, really important one. And I think, we need to really take on board the foundations of good health. There are a few other good habits to help your body heal and release fats. So these are just a few. So I just I push those in there. Intermittent fasting. Now, if you've ever done one of my programs, you will know that I get you to eat in a window between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. That is intermittent fasting. And so if you do intermittent fasting, it gives the body more time to heal itself. And very often, intermittent fasting for some who are in good health and everything else is enough to help start releasing fat. Not everyone, though. And so by doing intermittent fasting, you're allowing your body to heal. Now, you can shorten the window. Many people, proponents of intermittent fasting, recommend a window of 6 to 3 hours. And there is a new way, which is called OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. Not everyone's ready for that, but I often will have, inadvertently, I'll have a 3-hour window where I forget to eat lunch, and I'll eat my lunch at, say, 3:30, and then I have my dinner around 6. And so really and truly, it's sort of 1 meal, really, because you can't eat too much. So the thing is to go to appetite. Once you have your body in balance, it's very easy to go to appetite, because some days I'm ravenously hungry at 12 o'clock and I'll eat. But other days I just forget. And that's mainly because I am listening to the true hunger, not dehydration. And like I spoke about before, water is a vital component. But many people actually see thirst as hunger, because we haven't been taught to recognize thirst. and being the hypothalamus is in charge of thirst, it's another thing. So basically, intermittent fasting is a very, very valuable tool, and I would highly recommend it. Hot and cold therapy. Now, hot and cold therapy has been around for millennia, and most of us have enjoyed a lovely sauna and then not enjoyed so much going in the cold shower, but they're very, very beneficial together. And if you're lucky enough, like we are, to have sauna, then you can do that. But if you're not, then doing hot and cold showers are just as beneficial. So get yourself in a hot shower for a couple of minutes, really hot, so the skin's glowing, and then ramp it round to cold for a minute or two, and then do it for a few repeats. I've started doing cold showers first off, and it really does invigorate you, but not everyone's so mad. So basically, do what feels right for you, but they're really good. What hot and cold therapy does, especially cold, is cold helps you to release excess cortisols. And cortisols, of course, is a stressor. And so if we release the cortisols, and this is why you're doing a program or something, is if you can release the cortisols before it tells the hypothalamus that we're in stress for long term, then we get out of the loop of being in stress mode. So does walking, weight-bearing exercising, and fasting. Now, I could do a whole hour or so on just fasting, but I've got to cover other things first. But fasting is a very, very valuable tool. It really can help us speed up so many things. And no, it does not slow your metabolism down. It actually helps increase your metabolic rate. The old fallacy of fasting causing low metabolic rate has been kicked out the window. And like so many other things that we've been taught, like salt being bad for us and animal fat being bad for us, it's actually being shown that fasting is hugely beneficial and can actually increase your lifespan. Yes, it can. And increase your lifespan in a very productive way. I go into that in my programs and things. So it's really important that fasting is part and parcel of one of my programs. And so I'll tell you about that in a minute. Okay, so next, I must cover this one because I've been harping on about it for the last 4 years, and that is the carnivore diet. And I've been asked why this is so good. After all, been taught that meat, especially red meat, is bad. Well, basically, if we look at what I've been talking about is inflammatory foods. If we look at most of the food allergies and intolerances, most of them come from the plant kingdom. Have you ever heard of anyone being allergic to beef or fish or chicken for that matter, or even lamb? No, nor have I. I've been allergy testing for years, and I have found a few anomalies to that. I've found prawns and salmon, but I've also found that it depends on where they're sourced from. Now, they're farmed, so it could be what they're feeding them on. So consequently, the lowest inflammatory diet is from animal products. So I personally have been on this journey for 3.5 years and been eating no vegetables. I do have fruit. So I'm not technically a carnivore. I do have apples. They're the only ones I like. And I have lemons and there's a reason why. So basically, the reason why I have those is to give me a bit more variety, but also because they have specific reasons for me. And I'm not going to go into that. But basically, if you feel drawn to the carnivore diet, then there'll be a reason. And so it's because many people are curing themselves of various different disease processes using the carnivore diet. I've taken people through with Parkinson's disease, with autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, arthritis, gut issues, and even colitis and Crohn's and various other things. And the carnivore diet is actually enabling them to knock their symptoms on the head. It's a phenomenal way of being. And I just wanted to share that with you because part of my programs, you can choose the carnivore or the original. I don't force it on you, but if you have a challenge, and I'll go over that in a minute. And so if you look at eating anything from the animal kingdom, that includes meat, of course, fish, cheese, dairy, eggs, and lots of water, and especially the fats. Now, the fats are so interesting, especially beef fat. Beef fat contains a conjugated linoleic acid, which is part of the fat. And what that conjugated linoleic acid, CLA for short, is it helps you release abdominal fat. So that, what does that tell us? That tells us it's helping us to release insulin resistance. Magic, hey? It's just tallow is you can get tallow from there's a company called Homegrown Primal, and they're a New Zealand company, and they supply tallow amongst other offal capsules, because if you're like me, you don't really like eating liver or kidneys or anything, so I tend to buy the capsules to make sure I'm not missing out on any nutrients, and it's food-based, so, and it's good quality, so it's basically, that's why. Okay, so that's the food component. Now I wanted to go into, what's your why? So where to from here? When we decide to go on a program, like a diet or whatever, is for it to work, we need to have a big enough why. Now, at the moment, you might be sitting here and you might want to get in that dress for a special event, or you might want to lose the weight for a special date. It might be a birthday, or it might be a wedding, or it might be fill in the blank. Now, is this a good enough why? The problem with this is that once the date is over, we tend to go back to old habits, and then the weight goes back on, and around we go again. And then you start putting weight back on, and you start feeling bad about yourself, and then you decide to go on a program, and then you have to get in that dress again, or another dress, or whatever, and it just keeps perpetuating. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does, because it really resonates with me, because I know that my why had to be so strong to keep me on track. And so what is your why? We need a really big why to keep us on the program so that we get long-lasting results that keeps us in the pattern of good habits. As an example, if you are suffering with aches and pains, gut issues, or even a disease diagnosis or excess fat that you are carrying around that stops you from running around after your grandchildren, just being able to go up that hill that you live up. I live up a steep hill. And so if you can't walk up, how are you going to do it? If, you know, fill in the blank. So if you're watching this as a recording, I would encourage you to pause now, grab a pen, and write down your why. Make your why so important that you are going to stick to it. It has to be so motivational that you are going to keep on going. When you've written your why, so I'm assuming you've paused this and you've come back. When you've written your why, put it up on your fridge, on your mirror, in your car, so that you see it every day. You could also add a picture of your grandchild and you playing, you riding a horse, you running, you whatever. Just make it so that it's a motivational thing to get you to stay on track, so that you're really on board with this 150%. Because if you're not, what will happen? You'll have a friend invite you out for a glass of wine, And then that glass of wine will go to another glass of wine, and then it'll go to another glass of wine. And then you wake up in the morning and you go, oh my God, I've mucked my program up. I'll go and have fill in the blank. And so you just jump off, and then you're back in stress mode again. And so this is where we want to keep you out of stress mode and back into fat burning mode. This is our whole reason for doing this. So now you've chosen your why. Sorry, the dog just decided to join me. Now you've chosen your why. Then you choose your method. Now we've gone through a few of the options like carnivore, but I want to go through like low carb. So low carb is a great one to start because low carbohydrate tends to be a really good low inflammatory. Keto, however, I am a bit wary of keto simply because the ketos, a lot of the keto diets use keto breads and stuff like that. And a lot of those have grains in, they have nuts and seeds in, they have many, many items in there that could be problematic for you. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about how unique my programs are, which can take all of the problems and help bring you into balance in easy steps. So I just have to share them with you. The reason I have to share them with you is I'm so passionate about them because they quite simply work. And I would love for you to feel the benefit and for you to get where you want to go. And if you don't reduce the inflammation, if you don't get out of stress mode, then you won't be able to sustain a program. You won't be able to sustain the weight losses you've achieved. You won't. So first off, let's take you on a journey into Fast Track to Health. Fast Track to Health I designed 13 years ago, and it's where I lost my 25 kilos. And more or less, I kept the 25 kilos off. Now, as I said, it includes intermittent fasting. It also has a homeopathic remedy that sort of tricks the hypothalamus out of stress. I'm not going to tell you how it does that, but it does. It's my secret, and I'm going to keep it. And so basically, that's the homeopathic remedy that you take 3 times a day. And you do the intermittent fasting, you have 2 meals a day, and you have specific foods that you eat to choose from. They're real food. There's no buying any special foods or anything like that. Then I get you to take boost drops, which are ionic minerals, but also in there we have built in is a homeopathic remedy formula that helps support your kidneys, your liver, and your lymphatics. As you lose weight, what happens is your body starts kicking out toxins of all varieties. And for the organs to be able to cope with that, the drainage remedies help take it out. So that's the homeopathic remedy, boost drops. And then we have magnesium. Talked about magnesium, don't need to go into it anymore, but you have magnesium gel and you use as often as you possibly can. And of course, you drink 3 liters of liquid. Now, with Fast Track to Health, and actually the next one, you can have 1 to 2 cups of coffee. I know it would be very hard to give up coffee if you're a coffee drinker. There are some provisos. Make sure you drink good quality black coffee, organic. And that way you're getting benefits from it. And so consequently, you can do that. So, and that is Fast Track to Health. It's 40 days. It's what we call the elimination stage. And then you go to the next stage, which is discovery. And discovery is where you discover the inflammatory foods and the non-inflammatory foods. So you learn which foods you can have on a daily basis and which ones you introduce occasionally. And that's so valuable. Again, it'll stop you going back into stress mode. It's all about the stress. We need to remove those stressors. And this process, 80 days, nearly 12 weeks, can take you from weighing however much you weigh to weighing up to 25 kilos less. Some people have lost more because they stay on it a little bit longer. You can stay on it longer. But in those 80 days, you can potentially be that much less. It honestly, it really, really does work. And now, the new kid on the block, Ultimate Detox. Ultimate Detox came about a year ago. And basically, I'd been researching why more people seem to be put on weight, why we were struggling so much with various different disease processes. And I wanted to find a way to help my clients make sure they didn't get them. Or if they were dealing with a disease, then help them support them. And so Ultimate Detox came about through that. Now, Ultimate Detox is using the same food list as Fast Track to Health. And we use remedies, but we've ramped them up. So Ultimate Detox helps the spray, helps the hypothalamus, and also helps to eliminate heavy metals and chemical detox in it. And also has an emotional remedy to help you along the way. And then the booster just ramped up boost to help you eliminate those chemicals and heavy metals. And then there's a herbal remedy in this as well, which helps support the elimination organs and refortify the liver and the kidneys, and also helps cleanse your blood. So all in all, it's quite a compact program. Now, as I say, we do the same foods as Fast Track to Health, but there's other things added in. So I get you to do things like walking, hot and cold showers, or skin brushing, or various other things in the program. And I'm actually released this, I think it was on the 6th of June last year, where I had a group of ladies who joined me in the trial. And it was a magical experience for me, and I know it was for many of them, is they managed to let go of a lot. And so I've decided on the 17th of June this year, 2023, we're going to start another 12-week experience. And in that experience, I get you to also, not just doing the foods, but I also get you to do a fast. Now, it can be a 24-hour fast, or it can be longer, but I get you to try it. And you'll be surprised at what you manage to achieve. It is really quite extraordinary. So our Ultimate Detox 12-week challenge starts on June the 17th. Are you ready to totally change your life? Let go of the weight, feel amazing in your body, lose the pain, let go of the emotion, the depression, the anxiety, anything that's holding you back. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Because if you are, then jump on board. If you're ready to jump on board, or you're not sure if it's right for you, then I'm offering you, because you've watched through the whole of this, a free consultation. The link's in the chat box here. And if you are watching this and a recording, then please, it'll be below. So if you're watching this a recording, then it'll be below this video. And basically, it's just a chat to see if it's right for you. There's no obligation. I'm not going to force you into buying anything. It's all about finding out if this is right for you. And so consequently, I really want to encourage you to take me up on that offer, because it's very valuable. It's normally $80 for a consult with me, and I'm giving it away to you for free. And so, because I'm so passionate in really helping you achieve your goals. Now, this is the Ultimate Detox. We've got 3 ways to join us. Now, if you can't start, or you want to get going earlier, then our DIY journey could be the one for you. It's where you get the products for the 12 weeks. So basically you get 2 sprays, 2 boost, 2 herbs, 1 magnesium, with the emails, regular emails with tips and techniques to enhance your progress. You will enjoy the results. This will suit those of you who are self-motivated and enjoy being self-motivated to do programs. And if you love being left to follow the program on your own, this is for you. However, if you would like to, and I feel drawn to doing, is our detox community. You'll get all the products that I just mentioned and the emails that the DIY program brings, plus our online community. In this option, we will also have a weekly live call where you can ask questions. You are in a community of like-minded souls going through the same program together, where you can support one another and get daily input in the group by sharing your experiences, and you can help one another as you move through the program. This is a valuable way of working on yourself, helping others, and feeling supported at the same time. This option is the one we trialed in our first Ultimate Detox nearly a year ago, and it was hugely successful, and I know everyone enjoyed it. All of those who participated in it 100% got 100% out. And it is actually the motivation, like I talked about earlier, is what is your why? Once you've identified your why, then you choose which one of these you want to do, and then the world's your oyster. Now, there's the third option, and Detox Support 101. You receive all the emails, products, and online community if you so choose. Plus, you will have access to me when you need it, via Messenger or WhatsApp or text, plus a weekly call via Zoom or phone. This level of support and motivation is helpful if you struggle to keep on a program or need a helping hand. For example, if you've been trying various programs to achieve your goals and are still waiting to see results, I can help you. By calling on my decades of health experience, we can adapt the program regularly to help you move through blocks that can hold you back from your optimum health. It is, I know, incredibly valuable, and I know my clients who I've been walking them through the process and cheering them on, being their big cheerleader, enables them to achieve what they wanted to achieve from their program. And so that is Detox Support 101. And I can only take a few people on that because I don't have time to do everyone like that. But if you're wanting to, then it's incredibly valuable. So, Ultimate Detox or Fast Track to Health, which to choose? Of course, we can have a consultation and chat. But here is the sort of like the nitty gritty. If you're wanting to drop a few kilos and enjoy the benefits, then Fast Track is for you. Plus, if you have never done any intermittent fasting or gone on a weight loss program before, then Fast Track is the perfect introduction. Also, I would say here, if you are struggling with the menopause, this is a great start, a really good start. So if, for example, you found that all of a sudden you put weight on due to menopause, then this is a good one. Fast Track to Health is a good one to get started on, unless you feel drawn to do Ultimate Detox. But if you want to take the next step in your health and well-being, as well as losing weight, you've already been on intermittent fasting or a keto journey, and you're ready to let go of chemicals and heavy metals, and find the huge benefits of fasting and other detox techniques, then I will be sharing with you a lot over 12 weeks. Then join us on the magical journey that's called Ultimate Detox. It is a wonderful journey, whichever one you choose. I know, you will get results as long as you stick to it. Now, in conclusion, are you ready? Excited? Excited to be able to enjoy the benefits of losing weight, keeping it off, plus feeling good? Just remember, if you don't make any changes, then everything stays the same. In fact, what you are not changing, you are choosing. I will say that again. What you are not changing, you are choosing. However, if you're ready, excited to step into your best body, the best you possible, then jump on board and book a time. It's free, and I can't wait to help you achieve your goals. Make those goals audacious. Make them hard. With the programs I've outlined here, you can achieve them. And that is what I'd love for you, is to see you change. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really look forward to hearing from you and joining you on a consultation to help guide you in the right direction for you. It's a really, really important component of being alive, being the best you can possibly be.